Hi everyone. So far in this course, we've been talking about individual kitchen centers. Now, let's talk about how to put them together in an overall kitchen design. We'll cover how to combine these different centers using the concepts of work flow, work route or work triangle, and a couple of other layout options. Let's start by looking at an example kitchen floor plan, all right, and identifying the different centers in this example, all right. And so you can see that we have a cooking center, all right, a cleanup or a sink center, and a refrigeration center in this kitchen. But how do we know the best way to put these together? One way to think about or analyze a kitchen is called the workflow. And this is kind of a idealized sequence of activities that happen in the kitchen. For example, you might start by gathering ingredients. You would then prepare them. Maybe you chop your vegetables, for example. All right. You'd cook them, serve your meal, and finally there's the cleanup. All right. And so this would move through the different centers of your kitchen. You'd gather the materials from your refrigeration center. You'd move to the prep area, all right, to the cooking center. Finally, you would serve the meal in your serving and dining area and move back to the sink center, all right, for the cleanup. Let's take a look at this example diagram of kind of the workflow idea. On the left is supposed to be a good example of workflow, or they call it the food flow. All right. On the right is supposed to be a poor example of workflow. So let's start with the left. All right. And the big gray path here is kind of a through traffic path through your kitchen, all right, as people enter the room and perhaps move through to the dining or living area. I'm not sure what's over here, all right. The smaller dashed path is supposed to be the food path, basically, or the path of your user as they prepare a meal. Right. So perhaps your groceries start at the car and they come into the kitchen and they might be put away in this refrigeration center. All right. Now we start preparing our meal and we work in the prep area here. All right. We might wash the vegetables. Maybe we cut the vegetables. We move to the cooking center. All right. And cook the meal. And finally, we serve the meal to the table. On the right is kind of a poor example of this workflow idea. So again, maybe our groceries start here in the car, all right, and we bring them into the house and we walk all the way over here to put them away in our refrigeration center. Now it's time to start preparing a meal, and we might bring them out and wash our vegetables and come over here and prep them, and we come over here and cook them and finally serve them to the table. Right. The idea here is that the example on the right has far more back and forth steps. And also notice that the main traffic path, all right, they're calling it household traffic, is crossing the path of this cook multiple times. Right. Now, we all know that we don't cook in this idealized way. There's going to be a lot more back and forth going on as you grab more ingredients. All right. Um, but we can, as kitchen designers, try to accommodate a more idealized food flow or work flow through our kitchen. The other concept that you can use to kind of analyze your kitchen design is called work route. A work route is going to be an unobstructed path, right, between any two kitchen activity centers, right, from one activity center to another. So if we look at this same kitchen example, we can see our three major centers. We've got cooking and sink and refrigerator. And so these red arrows here, each of these would represent a work route. We've got a work route from the sink to the stove and back again. All right, we've got a work route from the stove to the refrigerator and back again, and a work route from the sink to the refrigerator. Okay. Now, notice because there are three major centers in the kitchen, all right, those three work routes are going to form a triangle. All right, just geometrically, that's what they do. And so this is the concept of work triangle. A work triangle is a set of guidelines for the distance between those primary centers. All right, and this kind of incorporates or goes along with the basic idea of workflow because basically we're trying to minimize, all right, the distance between, or actually optimize the distance between these major centers. This idea of work triangle is familiar, it's comfortable, and just so you know, it was originally designed for one cook. So here's an illustration of a simple kitchen design, those three major centers, and the work route will form a work triangle. There's a couple of basic rules to form your work triangle. And the first one is that each leg of it, of the triangle, each leg of the triangle, each work route should be between 4 feet and 9 feet long. You want it no smaller than 4 feet, all right, or 48 inches, because your kitchen gets too tight. All right, and you want it no longer than 9 feet or 108 inches, all right, because then your user is taking unnecessary steps and it becomes inefficient. Right? Also, when you take all three legs together, you want a total distance, all right, kind of the perimeter of your triangle of less than 26 feet. All right. This just ensures that you're not maximizing every leg of the triangle, all right, and making your general kitchen routes too long. All right. And finally, when you're measuring these, measure from the center front of each of those activity centers. All right. Here's an illustration of the different types of kitchens, all right, that you have seen earlier in our course, illustrated with their work triangles. All right. So far we've in the previous slides seen a couple of L-shaped and U-shaped kitchens. All right, but you can also have island kitchens, G-shaped kitchens, and this one is always confusing to students. The work triangle holds even with a straight kitchen, all right, a one-wall kitchen. Your triangle is just so flat that it is basically a line. A couple more rules having to do with work triangles. All right. First of all, no path on your work route should intersect an obstacle. All right. And the most common one is an island or peninsula. All right. More than 24 inches. That's hard to say, but fairly easy to illustrate. Let's take a look at this diagram. All right. We've got one of our primary centers on this island here. All right, so here are our three work routes. All right, what they're saying is we really don't want this work route to intersect this island more than this 24-inch distance right here. All right. The other recommendation here is to avoid routing any through traffic, all right, through your work triangle. Here's one more slide with some illustrations of those rules we just talked about. All right. On the left, let's take a look. We've got a work triangle right here, and you can see that it intersects the island a little bit. All right. We're less than that 24 inches. That one's okay. All right. On the right-hand side, look at this. It's the same shape and size kitchen, all right, but they've moved the refrigerator, all right, from here to here. And you can see that suddenly our work triangle does not work. All right, it runs right through that island, and this is, it says not ideal, but I would even go as far as to say that this is not acceptable. On the right-hand side, we have an illustration of what that means when I said try not to route household traffic through your work triangle. So here we have your main work triangle right here, and your traffic is going right through. This is going to be annoying for anybody trying to cook in the kitchen as household members go through their path. All right, we've just seen how you can combine the kitchen activity centers into a total kitchen plan using the concepts of workflow and work route or triangle, all right, no matter what you want to call that. We're going to pause here and we'll come back to this topic in the next video to talk about some other ways to, other layout options and other ways to design your kitchen.